Good morning, or should I say afternoon, because it is about lunchtime right now. And today, I have some harvesting to do for some of our customers. And I'm getting a later start because it was colder this morning. And who wants to be outside harvesting when it's cold outside? If you can help it. It's still cool, but it's definitely warmer than it was about a couple hours ago. Here on my homestead, we operated as a farm, a business as well. And throughout the year, we're servicing customers. And we have customers that we actually service during the colder months as well. My homestead functions as a place that I can grow and raise food for myself and for my family, but it also goes for providing food for our customers as well, because it is a business that we use to fund our endeavors and what we're doing here on the homestead. And we service restaurants, we service individuals through CSA and sometimes local pickup, and we do that throughout the year, even in January. So we typically have a lot more variety of produce throughout the other warmer months, but right now we have lettuce, microgreens, and eggs that we, on a regular basis, are able to provide our customers. And lettuce is looking pretty good right now. So you see, even in January, you can have fresh greens. So today we're going to be mixing up our lettuce here with some arugula, some kale, and some spinach spread out through the garden, and making a salad mix. Here recently I've been taking down a number of trees here on the property, but I still have some trees that I need to work on right here. And one of the things that I'm having to deal with because of the trees is not a lack of sun, but as I'm harvesting here, there's pine needles that are inside the mix. So you can't keep everything out of your greens and things that you're growing in the garden, but with having, especially this big pine tree, taking it down would definitely alleviate some of the pine needles in here. Because believe it or not, it even gets in there in the summer too. I don't know about you, but we've been getting a lot of rain here lately. And right now things are just mucky and yucky. Another project I plan to work on here pretty soon is putting a landscape, a weed barrier around the perimeter of my garden and the walkway, so that way I'm not walking in mud just like I was just doing. And that way it would also suppress the weeds, the unwanted plants during the seasons where they try to take over. All right, so right here we have two 50-foot beds. One is full of some kale and the other one's arugula, so I'm gonna be harvesting from these two to add to the lettuce for our salad mix. All right, so right here we have some kale, some arugula, and some mizuna. And I didn't do as much arugula just because it's not as young and tender as I would like it, and I always try to have a taste or two of something whenever I'm harvesting it out in the garden, just to make sure, just so I know what the customer is going to get. Yummy. So the next thing I'm going to do is there's some lettuce, some red leaf lettuce under the low tunnel there. So I'm going to harvest some of that just to add some more color to our salad mix. I really like it to be colorful and to look good as well as taste good. And adding, forgot to mention earlier, that adding mizuna, adding arugula and kale to your lettuce will help balance out the flavor, as well as add some peppery, maybe with a little spicy flavor to your lettuce, because sometimes lettuce can have a little bit of a bitter flavor, but if you add some diversity of greens to your salad mix, it really will help complement and make a lovely tasting salad. So yep, so check that out. This red will definitely complement our salad mix well. Alright, now that I have all the salad mixes ready that we're going to be delivering, next is time for the eggs. Not really excited about the eggs because they have gotten pretty messy, and they've gotten messy and dirty because our ducks and our chickens aren't laying in the nesting boxes that we have for them. And we do need some more nesting boxes, but still, they're not wanting to lay in the ones that we have for them. So they kind of lay a little bit everywhere on the ground and in areas that are just a little mucky, especially with it raining here recently. So I got some dirty eggs to clean. Check out all of these eggs. What in the world am I gonna do with all these dirty eggs? I'm gonna clean them up. It's gonna be a job, but we'll have a lot of eggs for our customers and for us. Alright, so I don't have an official egg washing station here on the homestead. I would like to have one in the future, but don't currently now. Currently we just use our kitchen sink. We do have an official wash station for our produce, especially our greens and other things that come out of the garden. We don't want to have any risk of cross-contamination at all, so we keep the egg washing separate. And for washing the eggs, I have a container, and you can use a stainless steel or bowl or whatever. We just place it in the kitchen sink. And then I also have to the side on the counter, I set up a towel, so that way when I'm washing the eggs and after I've washed them off, as they're drying, I'll just set them on the towel on top of the counter. But for washing the dirtiness off the eggs, you can use one of these scrubbies from the Dollar Tree, or you can use a loofah as well and make a scrub out of that. So get started. Alright, so when I'm washing them, I just take this scrubby and just kind of wipe just like that real quickly. And if they're not that bad, you can do it with your fingers, but scrub pad works much better. This or the loofah for getting that dirt off, and just dunk it just like that. Here on our farm, the ducks are the ones that lay the white eggs, and the chickens are the ones that lay the brown eggs, and we try to do that on purpose so that way we can easily distinguish between the two for packaging and keeping them separate for our customers. Ideally, you want to have the right amount of nesting material in your nesting boxes, and ideally for your ducks and chickens to lay in those nesting boxes. That'll help cut down the labor of having to clean your eggs. I'll just make it so much easier, but sometimes they just get them dirty and lay wherever they want to lay. Primarily, we're raising black ocelots, as well as we're doing the red star from Murray Hatchery, but we've also done Rhode Island Reds and some of the other higher producing chickens, and also some of the other high producing egg layers that are out there that lay the brown eggs. Ah, they're so beautiful. And it's so interesting how some of them, especially the chicken eggs, will have different little textures and designs and features that set them apart. Like this one, there's little freckles on it. And then this one has some lines as well as some freckles. And this one, even though it's clean, it has all these different lighter spots, like it would be dirt, but it's not. And with the duck eggs, there's a chicken egg here and there's a duck egg here. Their eggshells are a lot harder, and it's probably hard to see it on the camera, but they have little wavy lines of texture on them. And all of them have the different wavy lines, but they're just different. So next, these eggs are going into cartons, but I do want to mention before I put them into cartons that as soon as I take them out of the wash and they're here drying, they look like a bunch of little bottoms. Should say that, but they do. So a few dozen eggs are cleaned and packaged. Still have a lot more to go. So let me know in the comment section below, how many dozens of eggs do you think I'm going to have by the end of today? Back to washing. So as you can see here, we have quite a few more duck eggs than we do chicken eggs. And that is not unusual for this time of year. On our homestead right now, we have about the same number of chickens as we do ducks. So from a quantity standpoint of flock, they're about the same. But at this time of year, the chickens, their egg production goes down as the daylight hours are shorter. But the ducks, they just keep cranking them out. As far as the ducks that we raise, not all ducks are equal as far as laying eggs, but we raise khaki Campbell ducks primarily, and they can lay up to about 300 or more eggs per year. And it's even been on record that there has been one that has laid 365 eggs in 1 year. So that's pretty amazing. I haven't had that happen yet, but it's pretty amazing. We also are trying out Gold Star from McMurray Hatchery for the first time this year, so can't wait to see how they start laying, as well as we have a few Indian runners, but they lay fewer eggs than the khaki Campbells and even the Gold Star. I think the Indian runners lay about 180 eggs a year.
Daddy, you forgot about our Welsh Harlequin ducks.
Oh yeah, I did forget about our Welsh Harlequin ducks. We're raising Welsh Harlequin for the first time, and we got those from McMurray Hatchery as well. And also, speaking of McMurray Hatchery, they are doing a countdown to their first hatch, so make sure you place your order. You can check out the show notes below for that. Back to washing eggs. I know some of you may be wondering, how do you know if an egg is still good or not? How do you test the eggs when you're washing them? Well, hold on. Just hold on a few more minutes and I'll show you how you can tell the difference. Another thing that I'll do when I'm rinsing my eggs is I'll lightly turn on the water and just rinse them off that way. But as I can see here, this one has some cracks in it. Some of the times we'll set the cracked ones aside and we'll eat them, and I won't give them to customers. But this one has a little bit more than I would like, so we're gonna feed that one to the dogs. All right, before we move on to our next batch, it's time to empty the dirty water. Lovely. Just kidding. We're gonna take this and dump it in the compost. And when you're washing your eggs, you don't want to use boiling water or water that is too hot. You just want to use warm water that you can still put your finger in under and not burn you. All right, now we're gonna do some egg testing. These are some eggs that I've set aside just for the purpose of testing and showing you the difference in how eggs will respond in water according to how old the eggs are. And I have the team here ready for this science project. Josiah has his safety goggles on, as well as Selah. And Micah decided to go without his. And Lacie is here to assist me.
Right here.
And one thing I forgot to mention earlier is when we are putting our eggs inside the egg carton, we put them in pointy side down. And Lacie is the one that encouraged me to do that. I can't remember why. Why is that again?
Because the egg has an air sac in it, and you want that air sac to stay at the rounded end, the blunt end, because that is a way that bacteria can actually enter in the egg. And having the air sac at the top will keep any bacteria that may come in the egg away from that yolk, so it'll stay better longer.
So there you go, a little scientific fact for our scientific experiment here. All right, so who is ready here?
Me!
All right, ladies first, Selah. You're gonna place an egg in, let it set all the way down at the bottom.
Which way? This way?
Yeah. Just put your hand, make it go all the way, just take it all the way down to the bottom, so that way we're not busting it. There you go. Okay. Okay, so that egg is basically lifting right there at the back of it. So it is about a week or so old. You can see it just lifting up. Can you see that there, guys? The egg's just lifting up right there at the back. What is gonna happen to your egg? Ooh, it's lifting up at the back too. So that one is lifting up as well. So it is about a week old as well. So Micah, your turn. You gonna put it in?
Yeah.
Go all the way down to the bottom.
Don't drop it.
Don't drop it, lift it in there.
Stand up.
Put it in there. There you go.
Whoa!
That egg
No.
is pointing up even more. So that egg right there is about 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks old. So that egg's standing all the way up. All right, so we have some eggs in there that are about 1 week old and an egg that's about 2 to 3 weeks old. Selah, I want you to try this egg right here. Whoa, it went right up to the top. That egg is way old. At least maybe 4 weeks, I'm not 100% sure, but when they do that, we don't use them at all.
When they float, what you do is you pick it up and you take it outside and you throw it in the woods. And you try to touch it as least amount as possible. Trust me, trust me.
And why is that? Because it can explode, right guys? And I have actually had a couple eggs explode on me, and it's not fun at all.
Well, I will say that the ones that exploded on him were in the incubator and they didn't incubate. But if you have any kind of eggs that are older and they're warm, just don't do it. And you put them in water and they float, don't. Just take them very carefully outside and throw them away.
Alrighty, and then now we're gonna put in some of our fresh eggs that I know, at least I think I know, that they shouldn't float. So just like that, when they're freshly laid, they should just sit down just like that. That's about under a week old. Now, I do want to mention that this isn't a foolproof method, but it can give you a really good idea of how fresh your eggs are. And if they're laying flat, you can eat them. Even if they're a week to 2 to 3 weeks old, you can still eat them. And also, if you don't wash your eggs, especially if you don't plan to use them right away, they'll stay fresher even longer. Well, there you have it. I have my dirty eggs cleaned up and all done. That's it for now. We'll see you next time. As always, be strong, grow on, and live life without excuses.